Welcome in Tuesday night. Good news. 49ers Cowboys week begins in earnest tomorrow. We're on a standard schedule this week. Sunday game. That means Wednesday practice to open things up, Thursday practice to continue everything, and then a lighter practice on Friday to head into Saturday's walkthrough. Saturday won't be heading down to Santa Clara. That's the normal schedule. And on Sunday, I definitely will be heading down to Santa Clara. So today, laundry day. That's what everybody expects. It just has been on an elongated schedule because the 49ers played on Saturday, not Sunday, and their opponents, the Dallas Cowboys, played on Monday and not Sunday. So 2 extra days of rest for the 49ers that the Dallas Cowboys will not have. And the Dallas Cowboys have to travel. They've already traveled from Tampa back to Dallas, and Dallas is going to be headed at the end of the week from Texas to the Bay Area. So big time advantages in the scheduling department for the 49ers. They earned them, though. 49ers are the number 2 seed. The Cowboys, the number 5 seed. So the higher seed, even though they were just a game better during the regular season, the higher seed is rewarded in this case. Last year was the 49ers that had to go through the really tough road, and they beat Dallas anyway. And, I'll be honest about my feelings up front right now. I haven't made my game prediction yet, or I haven't publicized it yet. Ran into a few people on the street the past couple days. I told them the game prediction. So those of you who did meet me the last couple days and are watching the show, don't spoil it. Don't put it into the comment section. Don't say it too loud. But I have my score in mind, and I will say that I do think that the 49ers are better than the Cowboys. Doesn't mean that I'm ruling out an upset. You'll have to find out what my prediction is a little bit later. Upsets are always possible, but I think it is clear based on last year's result and then the improvement that the 49ers have seen between last year and this year. You look at the state of their team right now versus the state of their team in January 2022, it's markedly better now. The 49ers were playing most of the game against the Cowboys last year with a quarterback who had both a torn thumb ligament and a torn shoulder. 2 injuries on his throwing arm. Jimmy Garoppolo opened that game last year against the Cowboys red hot. Then he got hurt on the Randy Gregory hit, and then he obviously staggered across the finish line. So this year you have Brock Purdy instead of Garoppolo, and Purdy's actually healthy. You have a much better 49ers offensive line. I've talked about them being number 3 in pass block efficiency. And you have a better collection of skill position weapons, all the way down to the fact that Christian McCaffrey is on this football team. So this 49ers offense is supersonic at this point. Last year, they were doing enough, but they were struggling. They were beaten up. They were hurt. The line is healthy. The quarterback is healthy, and CMC is now on this team. Meanwhile, Charvarius Ward is now also on this team. That improves the 49ers secondary. Both safeties are new this year, right? You had Jimmy Ward and Jaquiski Tart last season. Now you have all-pro Talanoa Hufanga and Tashawn Gibson. He have 6 interceptions, more than Tart had in his entire career. So 49ers are locked, loaded, ready to go, a whole lot better than they were last year. And they beat Dallas last year with a worse team. Now, is Dallas better? Their defense is ranked number 2 this year. Their offense, though, regressed. They had the number 1 offense DVOA last year, down to 15 this year. I know they looked a lot better against Tampa Bay, so maybe we see a hot streak here from Dak Prescott. But even if we do, Dallas has a gargantuan amount of ground to make up to beat the 49ers. And I haven't even mentioned that this game is hosted by the 49ers instead of by the Cowboys, which was the case last year. Anyway, that's 49ers Cowboys week. I'm going to get a whole lot more into it. I just want to cover the day's news today before I get back to writing a big story on Brock Purdy, which is going to be coming out on The Athletic this week. And the big news for the 49ers is that they lost their director of pro personnel, Rand Carthon, who's been with this team ever since John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan took over in 2017. They lost him to the Tennessee Titans. Carthon hired to be the general manager of the Tennessee Titans. Now, because the NFL's minority hiring rule, Rand Carthon's departure to Tennessee is giving the 49ers 2 more draft picks, 2 more third-round compensatory draft picks. One is going to come this season, 2023, or this year, and another is going to come in 2024. So, despite having traded for Christian McCaffrey, and that's looking like a generational trade at this point as far as success level goes, despite using a lot of capital to trade for Christian McCaffrey, the 49ers have 11 picks, so they're slated to have 11 picks in this coming NFL draft. Absolutely unbelievable. This is chess, not checkers maneuvering from the 49ers front office. Let's take a look at what the 49ers are projected to have. Third round compensatory pick. This is from Martin Mayhew leaving to Washington and Robert Saleh leaving to be the head coach of the New York Jets. A third round comp pick for Mike McDaniel leaving to be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. The most recently acquired third round compensatory pick acquired for Rand Carthon leaving to be the GM of the Tennessee Titans. The 49ers own fifth rounder. They actually have two of their own picks in this draft. The 49ers fifth rounder from Miami, which they received in the trade for Jeff Wilson Jr. A 49ers fifth round compensatory pick. This is a projection. This is not guaranteed, but the formula suggests they're going to get a fifth rounder for DJ Jones' departure to Denver. A sixth round comp pick. This is projected for Arden Key's departure to Jacksonville. 49ers own seventh round pick. A seventh round pick that they received in the trade with Denver for linebacker Jonas Griffith. And then a projected seventh round compensatory pick for Raheem Mostert. And another projected seventh round compensatory pick for K'Wan Williams. Folks, this is absolutely bananas. The 49ers should not have 11 draft picks, but here we are, thanks to some really shrewd management by their front office. They're probably going to have at least 10, but the compensatory formula won't be finalized until after the season before the draft. But it's looking like the 49ers are going to have quite the haul. And here's another thing. The 49ers have a ton of expensive veterans that have either been re-signed or are going to be re-signed moving forward into the future, with Nick Bosa being next on the list to get a contract. So you want to stay under the salary cap. You need to stay under the salary cap. Well, guess what? Draft picks are more expensive the higher they are. So first round picks are slotted for more money than second round picks. Second round picks are slotted for more money than third round picks, so on and so forth. It starts in the second and especially the third round where picks start to get really affordable on the salary cap according to the rookie wage scale. So what the 49ers have done here is they've stacked up the lower round picks, starting with late third round with these comp picks, which are much cheaper than first and second round picks. And this is how they're going to replenish their roster. And they're going to do it in a really cost-effective way. You know, first round pick signing bonus can be $40 million. The signing bonuses of these guys are like maybe $2 million. There's a lot of money to be saved if you're stacking up lower round picks. And the only way this works to maintain a good team is if you hit on those lower round picks. And that's exactly why Rand Carthon got hired by the Tennessee Titans, because the 49ers have such a great reputation of hitting on the lower round picks. Kittle, fifth rounder. Talanoa Hufanga, fifth rounder. Dre Greenlaw, fifth rounder. Elijah Mitchell, sixth rounder. Brock Purdy, seventh rounder. Jawan Jennings, seventh rounder. And then we can go into all the undrafted free agents who have done so well for the 49ers. So it's really fitting that the 49ers are benefiting from all these draft picks, and they've amassed all these draft picks in the lower rounds as their strategy to sustain themselves moving forward. It's really fitting that losing Rand Carthon to the Tennessee Titans, because he's been so good with lower draft picks, will actually help replenish those very same lower draft picks for the 49ers. Now, I don't know how exactly they're going to structure things to replace Rand Carthon. I'm sure that they have somebody internally who they're going to bump up. But the main thing to emphasize is that Carthon is essentially holding Adam Peters' old job. Peters, though, got promoted a couple years ago from the director of pro player personnel to assistant GM. So you had a two-headed monster there between Adam Peters and Rand Carthon under John Lynch. And you're going to retain, it looks like Adam Peters hasn't done any interviews anywhere. He turned down interview requests. So you're going to retain Adam Peters, but you lost Rand Carthon. Now, Peters loves the Bay Area because he's a native. He's from Cupertino, Monte Vista High School, shared an elevator with John Lynch. He shared plenty of elevators with John Lynch, but he shared an elevator with Joe Montana at Candlestick Park growing up. So Peters, I mean, this is a guy that's happy to be in the Bay Area, happy to be in the role that he's in. 49ers are happy to keep him, and we'll see how much longer John Lynch stays around. But I could tell you what, John Lynch is still trying to scratch that competitive itch. He's still trying to win a Super Bowl, and I don't think we can cross any bridges as far as, speculating when John Lynch is going to leave until if and when the 49ers do win a Super Bowl. But in replacing Carthon, the 49ers already have the main piece, and that is Adam Peters. Let's, I have another graphic here for the draft picks. I mean, this is some of the stuff that I put up on Twitter talking about Rand Carthon's departure. The 49ers are going to have 3 third-round comp picks in the 2023 draft due to the minority hiring incentive. I mentioned one from Salah Mayhew, one from McDaniel, one from Carthon. There's a 2 higher per year cap, which is why they had to combine the Salah Mayhew into one. And the 49ers can actually get yet another pick if D'Amico Ryans is hired to be a head coach elsewhere in this cycle. Through the same rule, they can get another pick. The 49ers have currently, through Salah, Mayhew, McDaniel, and Carthon, have netted 7 compensatory third-round picks. But if D'Amico Ryans is hired elsewhere in this cycle, it will be 8 because you can only do 2 hires per year because there's a limit on that. It would be 8 if done this cycle, but 9 if Ryans is not hired until the next cycle because the 49ers would be able to benefit even further from the rule next year. So TBD on if D'Amico Ryans is going to get hired this cycle or later. You think he's obviously destined to be a head coach at some point. He's got 2 interviews this week, at least 2 that we know of. There's going to be one on Thursday evening and then one on Friday afternoon as he juggles that with game planning for the Dallas Cowboys. I have another video about that. Please stop freaking out about how men who are leaders manage their time. Football coaches know how to manage their time. Good football coaches do, especially. I mean, these guys are pressed for time all year long. It's not going to affect D'Amico Ryans' ability to game plan. It really isn't. He's got a couple Zoom interviews and he's doing them on his free time, which would be free anyway this week. And I'm sure that D'Amico Ryans is prioritizing the 49ers defensive game plan against Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. That's faux drama, fake drama, if I've ever heard it. And the main point I made here is, and I'll just read this off of my Twitter, this is a byproduct of success in building the NFL's deepest roster, which the 49ers have. Other teams want the personnel guys who made it happen. Rand Carthon was with the 49ers since John Lynch and Adam Peters arrived in 2017. San Francisco's track record in the lower rounds has been unbeatable since then. The lower rounds are the scouting department's rounds. That's where their operation shines. And Rand Carthon operated that part of the 49ers machine. The results indisputably suggest that he's done a great job. All right, so congratulations to Rand Carthon. Good guy, good new job. What an opportunity to be the Tennessee Titans' new general manager, work there with head coach Mike Vrabel. All right, let's change gears here and take a look at a crazy 49ers offensive stat. I tweeted this a little bit earlier too. 49ers offense is a nightmare to defend. We know that. We've seen the spacing out on the field, but I wanted to find a way to quantify it today. So I looked up some separation stats because NFL Next Gen Stats tracks players based on the chips in their shoulder pads. And there are qualifying receivers with enough targets on a season to meet the criteria to be in the stat database who, we can measure their separation at the time of the catch. And this was staggering to me. The 49ers nearly have 4 qualifying targets who have averaged at least 3 yards of separation at the time of the catch. Deebo Samuel at the time of the catch has been an average of 4.3 yards away from the nearest defender. That's a mile on a football field, 4.3 yards. Juwan Jennings, who might be the 49ers' best separator at receiver, even better than Brandon Ayuk, Kyle Shanahan says so, has averaged 3.5 yards per separation on each catch, which is, again, a big amount of space on an NFL football field. George Kittle has averaged 3.3 yards of separation on each catch. And Brandon Ayuk is almost up at 3 at 2.9. But you have to remember, Brandon Ayuk is generally facing other teams' best cornerback. So he draws the toughest matchup. Yeah, he still is nearly open by 3 yards on every single catch. So the 49ers nearly have 4 qualifying targets of at least 3 yards of separation. They technically have 3, but they almost have 4. No other NFL team has more than 2 qualifying targets at above 3 yards of separation. So if you have been watching 49ers games and been like, whoa, guys are wide open all over the field. This is crazy. This offense is so explosive. Defenses can't guard all these players. Brock Purdy is, just throwing to open spaces and obviously doing a good job managing that. And Kyle Shanahan is on one right now. I mean, he's taking all these weapons and he's creating a juggernaut. If you've been thinking that while watching the 49ers offense, I'll tell you what, you've been right. The numbers support that. The numbers say that the 49ers have been more wide open than any other team in the league. And guess what? These are full season numbers for the 4 qualifiers: Debo, Jennings, Kittle, and Ayuk. I don't have a way right now, and I'm trying to contact Next Gen Stats to find a way to give me splits before and after Christian McCaffrey. Because if we do end up having splits before and after Christian McCaffrey, I guarantee you these numbers are going to shoot up, because guys have been even more open after the 49ers captured McCaffrey. I didn't capture him. They traded for him. I guess they captured him, yeah. But they've been even more open since then, to the point where, we're talking about the gravitational pull that Christian McCaffrey casts on opposing defenses, like Steph Curry, right, has a gravitational pull on the field. So this is one of the best illustrations, I think, statistically, of how good the 49ers offense has been. Okay, check out the Kezar Stadium tour. Kezar Stadium tour available right now. I, put together this video today. I went out to the 49ers former stadium today. This is before Candlestick Park in Golden Gate Park. The final game at Kezar was against the Cowboys in the January 1971 NFC Championship game. And I had a lot of fun with this. And I think that you'll have a lot of fun watching this. Already, I think, around 3,000 views for this tour of Kezar Stadium. So this is on the page. Go ahead and check it out. We're trying to get as creative as possible. We got the cinematic mode working. Look at that. It's Bart Starr and the Packers at Kezar, back when it was a 55,000 seat stadium. And then you've got the Cowboys in the final game ever at Kezar Stadium, beating the 49ers. There's a reason why the 49ers hate the Cowboys, and I'm delving into those reasons this week. And they started at Kezar Stadium in January of 1971, over 50 years ago. Stadium obviously looks a whole lot different, but I like this part right here coming up. You're going to see fans watching from their San Francisco rooftops. Look at that. Fans watching from their rooftops down at the 49ers playing at Kezar. So some epic history. I hope you can check it out. I mean, I even walked down the tunnel right here. This was a lot of fun. This is the actual tunnel that, fans threw beer over and poured beer and threw peanuts at players on. They would come out through this tunnel. And nowadays, I mean, it's a whole lot greener, but I don't think it's as pretty, because I would rather have a stadium there, but it's not there. Oh, and there was the wrong way touchdown too with Jim Marshall. That happened at Kezar Stadium. And I got to stand on the field where it happened, pointing left to right. So anyway, please do check that out. It was a lot of fun to do. That's today's news. 49ers lose Rand Carthon to the Titans. That is the new Titans GM. But the 49ers are now projected to have 11 draft picks. 11 draft picks in 2023. And the good news for them is that these draft picks are going to be cost controlled, because they don't start until the late 3rd round. That's a big, big deal. 49ers front office is playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers right now. They really are. They burnt a bunch of draft capital on Christian McCaffrey, but they have these 11 picks anyway. I mean, the whole league must be, it's like the Breaking Bad scene. Jesse Pinkman, he can't keep getting away with this. Well, the 49ers, they got the best roster in the league, I think, really clearly. I don't know if they're going to win the Super Bowl, but the roster is definitely the best in the league. And they're just going to be able to restock. And if they can continue to draft the lower rounds with the efficiency that Rand Carthon and Adam Peters have been showing over the past few years now, even without Carthon, it looks like their roster can stay strong indefinitely. Anyway, 49ers Cowboys week starts tomorrow. That's why I did the Kezar tour. And, the reason you should subscribe is I just did Kezar. You can guess what's next. Because Kezar, by the way, has candlestick seats in it right here. I'm sitting on the candlestick seats at Kezar Stadium. So Kezar has candlestick seats. That's your hint as to what's next. What's next is candlestick, which weirdly, still, it doesn't stand. The stadium's not there anymore, but there's still some signs. The light fixtures are still on the ground there. It's a little eerie. It's definite faded glory. Anyway, I'll be paying a visit to Candlestick Park here within the next couple days, because how can I not? How could I be doing my job and not stop by both Kezar Stadium and Candlestick Park the week that the 49ers play the Dallas Cowboys? There's Kezar. Candlestick is going to be next. So everybody like the video, sub to the channel. Good stuff coming. We will see you all very soon.